One review to rule them all. One review to ruin them. One review to bring them all and in the darkness spoil them. Well, that was pretty crap. I'd probably give that 1 star. And this video with some music in the background is all about the 1-star review. It might even be the half-star review, because some publications are doing half stars. And some publications, I think, also, and websites and stuff, do 0 as well. But let's just stick symbolising all those, bringing them together, of the 1-star review that you may well have heard about or seen. And worst of all, you've received a 1-star review. And I was talking to somebody, a theatre maker at the Fringe who brings shows every year, who received a 1-star review for their show. So the first thing that happens, and you've probably seen these psychological models before, is the person goes into shock. Then they quickly move into anger, and then denial, and finally they come to a place of acceptance and absorption. And hopefully, having absorbed it, it just becomes part of their life and they forget about it. Because at the Fringe, even big publications, if they've given you a 1-star review, the vast majority of people at the Fringe won't be aware of it, will not read it, will not be Googling for it. And even if they Google the show in fairly quick order, particularly if you've got other reviews and other comment about your show, it will start disappearing down the search engine rankings very quickly. And I think I've recorded before, quite a neat trick that can often work is simply to start producing content of your own. You could do a video like this, you could do a podcast, you could just keep your diary up to date on your website, put some new posts out, and very quickly they appear as the most recent stuff, particularly if you tag your show title in Ed Fringe. So suddenly, if that review is glaring at you on the first page of Google, it starts to move down the rankings fairly quickly. But also, and I've mentioned this before too, if you keep looking at it online, this 1-star review, the reason it's still appearing is because you keep looking at it. There's no great science to this, and it can vary because the internet is actually fairly volatile, but mostly your attention to reviews, constantly obsessing over them, means that they become more available to you and they're glaring you in the face. Let's go deeper though. The 1-star review is written by somebody who has clearly disliked your show or has reasons to believe it's the poorest rating, and is reporting that through a review, and they're writing it up. And the theatre maker I mentioned, I won't mention names, was furious, was talking about that it's killing their show, has killed it, it's unfair, because when the reviewer came in, the show wasn't quite ready in week 1. Now we're in week 3 or 2, sometimes it can take that long, and the reviewers come out, and just at the point where they think they've got everything right, a review comes out that clearly doesn't represent the show that's on stage. And the problem with that is that reviewers don't review the ideal version of the show. They are not, at the time they go, reviewing your show 2 weeks later, and so they will report what's there, mostly. And that's a problem, because the world has changed, and you think they're just out of date. Of course, you might think that they're just dumb, stupid, evil, and all the other words that everybody spits at reviewers. And quite often up here, the same reviewer, if they give you a 5-star review, is suddenly the most objective person in the world, clearly with good taste. And that's the game up here that people choose to play. The danger is that you get trapped in a kind of, a real deceptive narrative where you're on a binary line of, if they give you a good review, they're a genius; if they give you a bad review, they're the devil incarnate, or just not qualified to see your show, and so on. And the review still sits there. And unless you're being slandered, because editors will take really poor reviews down, particularly if they're badly written and break other codes like ethics, that review just stays there. It'll stay there on the internet, and the internet remembers everything. But the thing for your own mental well-being is that the danger is that you obsess with it. The obvious thing to ask is whether there is anything in that review that can teach you something, that actually is saying something right about your show. And I've mentioned before also that if you find you've got 3 or 4 1-star reviews, they're all saying the same thing. Well, can everybody be wrong? But I've certainly heard directors, writers assume that everybody else is an idiot but them. The place to be, I think, is philosophical and calm, that you decided to get into a game here, and the game is that reviews sell tickets. Bad reviews don't necessarily, but they come out anyway, and you could get a clutch of good reviews and then one, and we call it the rogue review. I just want to draw attention to a few things. In a couple of cases, this review was from a magazine or a newspaper behind a paywall, so no one sees it. Not that many people are paying to go on these websites, and even if they do, as soon as someone clicks to read that review, they can't get access to it unless they pay. So just note that where the review has come from, and just tell yourself, because it's true, that not everybody else except you is looking at that review, and it's going to have little or no effect on your ticket sales if you keep selling your show, talking about the good things about it as other reviews. It's only harmful to you, because you are harming yourself by constantly obsessing over it. Beyond actually seeing if there's any useful feedback about the harmful review, no, don't go trolling the reviewer, don't go slandering them to other people. In nearly every case, they're sitting down and writing what they believe to be true. One of the lines up here is that it's all subjective anyway. You're happy to take that view on board. All I would say is that the reviewer is looking at your show as an object, trying to report on that object, and then they can be objective, as at least as close to it as possible, if they can see past their own biases. But some one-star reviews are just the reviewer reviewing the contents of their head, or what happens to be their emotional state, and projecting onto your show, and that's unfair. But my belief is the response to that, as an arts maker, a show maker, a theatre maker that's brought something to the Fringe, is don't let that stranger rock your world. It's just a review, and as I say, in most cases the vast majority of people in Edinburgh won't even be aware of it, even if it's a review in the Scotsman, because a lot of people simply are not Googling for your show to see what the reviews are. It's not going to appear on your posters, and very quickly, as I say, you can make it more prominent by getting some audience reviews out there that have said positive things, and just take your attention away from the one-star review. One tip was, I remember, even this year, some people get a one-star review and then they get a couple of good reviews, and they put all three on the poster and on the internet, because it simply then is quirky. It shows that your show has divided opinion. And people are really interested in things that divide opinion and are a bit different, and suddenly they appear beyond the hype of just loads of 5 stars from anybody on your poster. Everybody's doing that, and you might be the only one that's split the critics. So you can enjoy the controversy that goes with that as well. I would suggest that the one-star review in a lot of cases is a bit mean, and I've read some of them, and they're written in a very cruel way, and it can sometimes be a reviewer trying to get attention. But in other cases, and maybe it's most cases, that reviewer is writing sincerely, and they're offering you a gift. It's a gift of harsh criticism, which you can take it or leave it. In most cases, I think what you need to do is just continue to do your show, believe in your work, don't get obsessed by that review, and just walk away from it, literally walk away from it, because you have a show to do. And I promise you, once you've gone through the denial and the anger and the fury, you will come to a place where you just forget about it and other things take your attention. The one-star reviews gone down quite a lot over the years. There used to be a lot more, and in some cases magazines will put a quota of them in almost, because 1 star and 0 star sell as adverts. Some people like to go looking for them. I think even in a 1-star review you might find a quote. They might not like a lot of it, but still say there was some good acting, or that the thing was well written, but maybe they thought it was a misfire. In that case, pull quotes. Say people don't look at them up, they don't want to read the whole review, but if you've got a quote from your only review and it's a 1 or 2-star review, but there's something positive said, take out that pull quote and put the publication, and don't assume people are going to go further than that. And those things can go up on posters as well. One other thing at the Fringe I just want to say, sometimes a 1-star review is a real gem because of its rogue nature. And I think there's a psychological way to be with that if I'm in a room talking informally and one person thoroughly disagrees with me, that's fine. It suggests that something I'm saying might be landing badly with somebody, and that can be a follow-up conversation. Why did you think that of me? And you might be able to put that right through a much longer term dialogue. And prove yourself to be different to somebody who has a certain judgment about you. And that's where the 1-star review can be a kind of gift in the long run. But finally and lastly again, don't give them attention and they will soon go away.